place right now where we're looking at revenue and asking the question where it will be. We've seen a decline in revenue. We have to do budget cutting over the next 6 months to get to a place where this year's budget is balanced, and that we ensure that the budget that we present finally to the legislature, the JVC, is balanced as well. So there will probably not be a way for us with general fund dollars to look at additional revenue to transportation, given the serious downturn that we've gone into. But as to your other point, we're working with both sides, and we're very hopeful that we can, at the end of the day, get to a place where the support is bipartisan for this bill.
Governor, in that sense of bipartisanship, and you mentioned the T-Rex project that the state needs innovative thinking like that. The Republicans just proposed something similar. They want to leverage state buildings to bring in income. Could that possibly gain Democratic support with your support, maybe in exchange for support on faster, or as part of the same bill or something?
Well, I think we have to look at that and see, really, at the end of the day, if that's a smart thing to do, if it's a smart way to go. We'll make them a part of this conversation and entertain that idea. But I'd like Treasurer Kennedy to be a part of that idea as well, because of the vast amount of experience we've had with COPs in just the last couple of years. You know, we just issued COPs again to build out higher ed buildings. We talked about that and had a press conference on it. We went forward with that in November. So we have a lot of experience with COPs. We built the University Hospital. We built CSP2, the second prison, using COPs. And I think the question at the end of the day is, what is the revenue stream that's produced that's different with COPs than actual revenue bonds? What's the different cost to the state? What's the different advantages if we use COPs and instead use those instead of revenue bonds? But that we haven't foreclosed that conversation. Yes?
You've talked about hope repeatedly. You hope that this gets through. Given the barriers, given the lack of Republicans standing here today, what kind of a shot do you give it? 50-50?
I'm not going to answer a question about this other than to just say we believe this is necessary. This is really necessary for us to do this, and I believe it's important that we do it in a bipartisan fashion.
Have you identified?
Governor, would you please address the additional revenue stream, where that comes from, the impact on the average driver, and I guess how you have to balance that with the economy and the families that are out there struggling with jobs?
So families are absolutely struggling, and we know that. We're paying really close attention to that, and I think, and very much that's why any kinds of increases you'll see that impact Colorado families could best be described as moderate at worst. And so really for us, it has been about understanding the time we're in, and yet at the same time understanding this deep need we have to do to build this out. So it's very much for us to structure any kind of a fee increase that's necessary for the revenue stream to be to have just at worst again a moderate impact on Colorado families. And I think you'll see as the legislative process goes forward kind of what that would be in terms of impact. Yes.
The press release talks about the average for the Colorado motorist. What about the trucking industry? Where do you see their expenses and increase on the trucking industry, and what kind of response have you got from them?
Well, I think we've been working with all of these different stakeholder groups, and so if it's weight-based, obviously the trucking industry is going to be impacted differently than a Colorado family will be impacted, but we again believe that this is a moderate amount given the kinds of road traffic and truck traffic that we have in this state. We've done a lot to work with the ag producers and last year with the dairy producers to find ways to make accommodations for their ability to carry on and to be financially viable. And we'll keep looking at those kinds of issues as we balance the need to do this with the kinds of interests that will be raised by those stakeholders. I'll take one more question from the gentleman on the floor.
Yeah, are there areas identified for expanding tolling across the state?
No, what happens is this gives this new enterprise that's developed, and really the end of the Colorado tolling enterprise, new enterprise that's developed, it gives them the ability to look at tolling existing lanes, but it really changes the process. So local government, all local government basically has to agree that this is the right thing. It really changes this to a fully collaborative process involving CDOT and local government. And once local government signs on and the state is signed on, then that can go forward, but it's not without that. If local government disagrees, they can come to the legislature. The legislature becomes the body then that decides as it relates to tolling, but it changes the way we have this conversation. And quite frankly, there's a lot of it as well that would require federal participation and federal waivers. but it is a different way of describing the conversation, particularly for tolling existing
But
lanes.
there's been no areas that's been discussed.
No. Thank you very much.